I've got some good news and some bad news. The good news is that racism, sexism and homophobia will soon cease to exist. The bad news is we're all gonna die.
Scientists at the UN right now projecting a full-blown global crisis by 2040, with the Earth getting way hotter, way faster than the science showed even a few years ago.
Yes, everyone's gonna die, except for those people who live underground, the mole people with their spicy food and their squinty eyes. Sure, you might defend them, but would you let your daughter marry one? OK, scientists, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. What are we in for?
Countries already hit by hurricanes face ever greater storms. A single-degree temperature increase could eliminate fresh water from a third of the planet. At a 2-degree rise, people begin to die in what are now considered normal summers. A third of all life on Earth faces extinction.
Yeah, that's right. The Earth is flat. If those mole people dig a bit deeper, that'll be the end of them. Floating around the atmosphere, opening dry cleaners as they do. A rise of just 2 degrees and all that destruction. But I have a plan. Everyone who has air conditioning, turn it on right now and open your fridges up and push them towards the window. Let's save the planet together. The study was issued by a United Nations panel on climate change, and it's hundreds of pages long. Of course, they know their audience, so the report is full of pretty pictures. But that wasn't enough for the president.
It was given to me, and I want to look at who drew it, which group drew it, because I can give you reports that are fabulous, and I can give you reports that aren't so good.
If you're gonna deny climate change, at least have the decency to turn your helicopter off. Yes, Trump can give all kinds of report. This report is drawn by a group of internationally respected scientists. Bad. This one was drawn by Jared Kushner. Good. On 60 Minutes this week, Trump elaborated on his insane views about global warming.
Do you still think that climate change is a hoax?
Look, I think something's happening, something's changing, and it'll change back again. I'm not denying climate change, but it could very well go back.
Whatever hair the two of them have, it clearly comes from the same animal. Come on, Donald. You of all people should know that no catastrophe suddenly changes back. You've fathered at least 3 of them. Some Republicans continue to insist climate change isn't real, but the real hoax is Republicans pretending it's a hoax. They know the science is real. They're just making so much money they don't give a shit.
Texas Republican Lamar Smith is the chair of the House Science Committee and has received more than $600,000 from the oil and gas industry. Inhofe's biggest funders include ExxonMobil and Koch Industries.
What are they going to do with all this money when the world is ending? You can't eat money. Unless they're chocolate coins. But that'll be difficult with the rising temperatures. That's why they keep it in Swiss bank accounts. See, because the temperature's colder in Switzerland, plus they have the money and they're involved in chocolate. That joke's amazing. But there's no doubt that we're in trouble. But finding a solution is difficult because it's tough for people to focus when you tell them they're all going to die.
Climate change is the policy problem from hell. You almost couldn't design a worse problem as a fit with our underlying psychology or the way our institutions make decisions.
Because when I feel fearful or guiltful, I will withdraw from the issue and I'll try to think about something else that makes me feel better.
Of course, no one wants to talk about climate change. Imminent death is too scary to contemplate. If you told me that I and everyone I ever met is going to die a fiery death, my first thought wouldn't be, oh, I better bring my own grocery bags to the store. It'd be more like, well, I have been meaning to try heroin. The problem of climate change is just too big and overwhelming. How can we possibly deal with a threat to our lives, our kids' lives, our grandkids' lives, our great-grandkids? Honestly, I don't give a about my great-grandkids. I don't know them personally, out of sight, out of mind. If my kids want to have babies in a climate-ravaged Mad Max wasteland, they can go for it. They'll have gills so they can breathe as they swim to school. But I just don't have the brain space to worry about my freak fish great-grandson. So, how do we get our government to act? Obviously, the only way is to get Trump's attention with more pictures. So I drew a few to help illustrate the dangers of climate change. First, Mr. President, with all the refugees created by global warming, poor people have to stay at Trump hotels with their disgusting unwashed faces in their hands. As the weather gets more severe, if you think Stormy Daniels is a problem, wait until she's upgraded to Hurricane Daniels. And eventually, Russian prostitutes will be too dehydrated to piss on a mattress. We're going to put these pictures on the side of chicken buckets until he gets the message.